2 magic words for coaching and parenting for your athletes at home. Are they athletes? Well, it doesn't matter what we think. It's what's in your head. So if you are a parent or a coach or a sideline person who likes to interject all their energy to make kids feel bad in how they're performing or whatever, you can actually serve a purpose. Take the information you're about to get from this article from littleleague.org, and I'm going to add to it my perspective, how it really can come together, and you can really have an effective change on athletes you're around, or prospective athletes, or just a child. There's a way. And I have a video for you with my 9-year-old son working in the backyard, how I changed my backyard. I'm always changing my backyard to make it interactive for my children to develop, because I need them to love the game, because it's part of me and I want to be part of them, but I can't force the issue. But I can definitely manipulate the issue by doing different things like I did earlier this morning with Jet. And I'll show you a video of that in a few moments. But first, let's look at this article from littleleague.org. 2 magic words for coaching and parenting your athletes. I love how this starts. What were you doing out? Wait, you can't see it. There it is. What were you doing out there? Screamed an angry dad. I told you to shoot, yelled the coach to the shell-shocked young boy who just passed to his teammate instead of fulfilling the coach's wishes. He doesn't know what he's doing, said a third parent, shaking his head as the attack falters and possession is turned over. 3 adults, 3 familiar phrases we hear nearly every weekend from the sideline of hockey, soccer, or basketball game. If it's baseball or softball, you can replace shoot with swing or run, or you name it. Far too many coaches and parents on the sideline are micromanaging performance and stealing our players' reps, and they all have one very critical thing in common. What is it? Every one of them saw the play from a completely different perspective as the athlete. That is an interesting point of view. It's like yelling at officials. When you yell at a referee, you're seeing a different perspective. So when a referee sees it, he sees what he sees. He sees that part of the field. And then you have all these spectators around that see different parts. So they're all going to have different perspectives. And it's crazy. Unless you've reffed, I've reffed. It's not easy. Everyone has a different perspective, and the referee needs to make a decision. So let them make decisions. Like a child, let them make decisions on the field. It will help them develop. But reading on, that is right. They did not see the pitch through the eyes of the batter or the pass through the eyes of the soccer player. They saw it from a completely different angle, from a considerable distance further away, and did not have an opponent pressuring them or chasing them in the moment. They all were telling the athlete the correct decision, even though the athlete, the learner, was far better positioned to make the decision. They stole the reps. They made the athlete cringe. They were confrontational, and they may have even embarrassed him. No, they certainly did that. That's a guarantee, my friends. And in many cases, they were all wrong. Many of us have the opportunity to watch our kids play again after a few months off. Along with that, we will have... Let me add to that real quick. I'm going to stop it right there. Many of you are in that situation, except for me. You know why? COVID never shut down me and my children. Well, Jack in particular. It never shut us down in the game of soccer. You know why? Hispanics play every day. Regardless, it'd be Christmas, they're playing. It's Halloween, they're playing. Any holiday, they're playing. If there's a crisis, is there a COVID thing, they're playing. That's why I love them. They love the game so much, they're willing to die for it. I love it. Anyways, continuing on. All too often, I know this from a personal experience, we use this time to instruct and tell our kids what they should have done. A coaching colleague, Nick Levitt of UK Coaching, recently challenged me as a coach and parent this fall to do something slightly different, where he discusses this. Instead of saying, why did you play that pass? Or why didn't you shoot? Nick challenges us to begin our question with 2 magic words. Well, before I get to the magic words, let me rephrase this. Instead of saying, why did you pass it? Why did you play that pass? Or why didn't you shoot? That sounds better. That sounds more real. He wants to replace it with, I'm curious. And he states these 3 things. I'm curious what you saw in that play as I looked at me like you had an open shot. I'm curious why you didn't take the player on. It looked like you were 1v1. I'm curious when you took the shot if you saw any other options. By beginning our sentences with I'm curious, the following happens. Let's see what happens. 1, we invite our player to explain what they saw and take ownership of their decisions. 2, it shows we are interested in them. 3, we create a conversation instead of a lecture. 4, we open the door to understand what our players are seeing from a different perspective than we are, often a different angle and certainly under pressure. So great advice. It makes a lot of sense, but let's be real here. On the sidelines, you'll have teachers, educators. You got teachers, you got lawyers, you got so many people on the sideline from all walks of life. That's why sport's great. It brings people together regardless of a lot of circumstances. But we do come together. It's just the emotional trigger of how you react to that situation. So I could see it like this. Say this was mandated and people are doing this. If they're doing this, they have to phrase it this way. It's not going to come on the car ride home. They're not going to remember the play. They're going to be like this. I'm curious what during the game, I'm curious what you saw in that play. Looked like you had another option. I'm curious. What did you take that player on? The words sound great, but is it great? Obviously these are conversations that you have not during the game. The problem is during the game. That's how it's addressed. Those things are said during the game. Not I'm curious, but just change it. It doesn't change anything. Just let our kids play and be a little different. But it does make sense if you're having a basic conversation, but in the heat of the moment in sports, it's not possible, my friends. They all lose their mind. That's why you need to have them, the sideline, busy with doing something that really matters, like math, like I do. Anyways, reading on. I have been amazed when I start doing this, how players actually saw what I thought they should do, but were able to explain that a defender was in the way of a pass or that they thought a teammate was making a run that I did not see. It allows me to coach, but also allows them to own their decisions and consider others. It allows me to see what they have learned and what they are seeing. It has it has made me realize that many of our players and my own 2 kids are seeing the big picture, but also a different solution to the problem the game presents. So this fall, if you decide to watch your kids play and discuss the game with them afterwards, why not challenge yourself as a coach and as a parent to start your sentence with, I'm curious. See what happens. As Levitt writes, start with curiosity without judgment and see what you can learn to. See you on the field. You never know. You can do it from the sideline. I'm curious. What are you doing? We are a society of morons where we want instant gratification and we want punishment right away. We're getting to that point. Sports is only get worse as we get more and more. Kids yelling at me. More and more problems. I want to practice it. I'm curious, Jet. I'm doing a podcast. What made you make that decision of interrupting me? Okay, it's a surprise. All right, almost done. So I guess I can now deal with my children with I'm curious. Will it work? No, it's not going to work. Is it a good thought? Hold on, Jet. It's something to. It's better than whatever. The problem is the heat of the moment. We have to have the sidelines understand. We can communicate with our children, our athlete, through math. Just use math. Record every time they make a decision and identify that. If they're passing the ball backwards too much, they're not taking enough shots and all that, you can show them on an Excel spreadsheet or right after the game, hey, good job. You had 20 touches on the ball. You passed the ball forward 10 times in the first half, but in the second half, you actually went backwards 8 times and only went forward 3 times. I'm just curious, why are you going back so much? And there's a conversation for the car, but you need something to remember. You're not going to remember the game. No one remembers the game. They don't. They're so emotionally charged. They remember the bad and the great things, maybe by other players, but you got to record what they're doing. Anyways, go to my my podcast. or email me and I'll send you direct links exactly the math that I use for my child. I do it all the time. I think once a week I put out the math, how my son's doing. So anyways, let me show you what Jed and I did. Let's see if I can get it. So here's Jed. All right. Well, you don't, but that's the halfway marker. So you have to strike. You can strike the ball. All right, so I'm just gonna. You don't need to listen to me. So I'm instructing Jet, and we use the big cone to strike the ball beyond the cone and see how he does. Now Jet never wears a shirt as per the usual in the Cameron household, and he doesn't really play soccer. He's not a fan of it, but he's a fan of kicking the ball into these boards I set up for him. So he's about to demonstrate, and he actually knocks a board down. So we're doing basically a test to see how these boards can hold up. But the fact that I'm not going to worry about his technique or anything like that. I'm just glad he's just kicking the ball and having fun and exercising. It's already, my board's already fallen down. And that one's doing better. The other board's slanted board. So I'm just doing a time trial, and what I'm going to do is develop this time trial and record it and say, hey, you got 10 seconds to strike a ball, but you had to pass a cone, and there it goes. So that's gone. So I anchored it with a hammer, a really heavy hammer. I'm going to get some stakes and stuff. So I'm just glad he's actually playing, and I have a soccer board. I have numbers up there. I use a bunch of different exercises, which I'm going to start showing as much as possible so you guys can see what the possibilities are to develop a home. It doesn't have to be like this. It'd be anything you want. You want to get reps, but you have to keep changing what you're doing so they're wanting to get the reps. I'm not fixing technique or anything. I'm just grateful he's actually kicking a ball, because this is the most he's kicked a ball in a long time. And that's all I wanted from him. That is it. So that's just a basic exercise. So what I would do is for Jack, which I'll do another one. It'll come out Monday, I'm sure, where I'm going to see how Jack does. And what I'll do is have him strike the wall, and then take the ball, receive it, and push the ball to my number sign I have, where he has to manipulate the ball on the number sign and then hit the side wall, receive it, and keep doing it. Or add a move where you can hit the wall, do a pull back behind, roll and go, and then strike the other side, but then make a time trial. Oh, good. You in 20 seconds, you got 14 crossovers. Math solves all and gives them something to work on. So there's so many things you can do at home. And I'm just going to keep flooding my podcast with video. For the ones that are in my audio, go to my YouTube channel. So it's youtube.com/Coach Cameron Soccer. So go to YouTube, Coach Cameron Soccer, or just Google me, you'll find it. And there's a bunch of backyard soccer activities I have on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to start incorporating it into my podcast so you guys can see what tools you can use to help develop your child. Use your energy in the right way. Use your anger and harness it instead of screaming, and actually put it towards activities that you can do at home. There's, so many things you can do. And that's all I'm going to talk about in this podcast today. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you guys next time.